Hello everyone, it's time for another episode of Am I the Asshole? If you like hearing Reddit stories, it would really help the channel if you could like and subscribe. Now, let's get started with our first story. Am I the asshole for reminding my mom that she disappeared for 6 years? My mom and dad divorced 6 years ago. Her new husband didn't want her to see my dad, and so she let my dad have custody of me and didn't exercise visitation. She contacted us last month, saying she had divorced him and would like to reconnect. Dad told me it's up to me, so I said, why not? Things have been kind of awkward between us. Obviously, I've changed a lot since last time she saw me. When she came over yesterday, I was reading An Offer from a Gentleman. My mom said, "You're too young to be reading these toxic romance books." I just stared at her and said, "I was 12 when you disappeared 6 years ago. I'm 18 now." She spluttered for a moment and then told me there is no need to use that word, that she made a mistake and there is no reason to throw it in her face. Not the asshole. Accepting any criticism or correction from a parent who has abandoned you from 12 to 18 would be difficult. You've learned to grow up without her and don't need her showing up now trying to mother you. That ship sailed, piloted by her. That all said, I'm sure her abandonment hurt you. Maybe you two can build a bridge back to each other, but it will take time. Time you will need to be convinced you can trust her again. She can't demand anything from you. It will have to be earned for you to believe in her at all again. She proved herself to be a parent you could not rely on. Please know that no child, including you, deserves to be abandoned by a parent. That was her failing, not yours. Your words to her were accurate and spot on. Sadly, she doesn't sound like someone who has a clue what she did and how wrong and hurtful it was. Likely she will never be the mother you wish for. And yes, you were a child when she left, and you are now a young adult. She missed that entire transformation. I agree. The mom can be in her life again, but she will never be a parent again. She broke that relationship irretrievably. Not the asshole. She does not get to pretend like everything is suddenly okay. She has to make amends to you. If it were me, I'd make weekly joint counseling a condition of you having contact with her. You pick the counselor and she pays. You're in the driver's seat on this one. I'd also make it very clear that she has lots of work to do before she gets to resume the role of parent. Well, she can't ever assume the role of a parent. You are already an adult. She can just be in your life. She missed that chance. Not the asshole. Did she conveniently forget that you had grown up in those 6 years? Your reply was a perfect lesson in karma. As for her getting butthurt over disappeared, you told her nothing but the unvarnished truth. What were you supposed to call her abandoning you? Temporarily unavailable. Am I the asshole for not allowing my children to call my mother honey? I, 29 female, have been thinking about starting a family recently. My mother, 50 female, recently stated she does not want her grandchildren to call her grandma, but wants them to call her honey. She says she wants something uniquely different. She thinks it's endearing and says she will be sweet as honey to her grandkids. She and her husband call each other honey, and I consider it a romantic pet name and think it is odd as a grandparent name. My siblings agree with me. My husband thinks we should just let her choose whatever name she wants, but I cringe every time I think about it and want us to come up with something else we all like. She thinks I'm being the asshole and it will be her grandchildren, so she gets to decide. Am I the asshole? TLDR, my mom wants her grandchildren to call her honey, and I want us to pick a different name as I think honey is weird. Edit. I've seen several people ask why this is even a conversation now. We have a dog, and since my mom has decided on Honey as her grandparent name, whenever she is talking to our dog, she is calling herself Honey. Don't you love when Honey comes to visit? You love Honey, don't you? I roll my eyes, and then the back and forth starts with the name. I've made some suggestions like even Grandma Honey, but she is adamant it will only be Honey. If the grandkids call her something else, she plans on correcting them and saying to call her Honey. Info, can you mix the two and let the kids call her Gunny? I asked if we could compromise and use Nanny, and she said nope, she just wants Honey. What about just Grandma Honey? I used to call on of my grandma's grandma Sasha because that was the name of her cat. Grandma Honey was in fact what we called my great-grandma. Your kids pick the grandma name anyway, and they won't be able to pronounce honey. Just say okay to honey, and then when your kids can't say it and call her Oni, roll with it. That's so cute. Is Oni coming over tonight? This was how someone in my family ended up with the grandma name of Nini. I'm really surprised at NTA takes honey is absolutely not only romantic, very common for a parent or grandparent to call a child honey. So it would not be creepy at all for a child to call a grandparent honey in return. I say no assholes here. If you really hate it, then ultimately it's not a good choice. You need to sit down and come up with another option. Do you have a heritage that has a non-English name for grandparent that could be a good fit? Well, that's another episode of Am I the Asshole in the books. I really appreciate all of you who made it this far into the video. Of course, if you enjoyed this video, it would really help the channel out a lot if you gave the video a thumbs up, subscribe, or leave a comment down below. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.